Ladies and gentlemen, it is official. Colby Covington is done, in my opinion, in the UFC. And by done, I don't mean officially out, cut, or anything like that. But I think maybe he's got one fight left. And I believe, depending on the matchup, but the high probability is that he's going to lose this fight. Why do I say this? Well, for those of you, the small percentage of you who actually watched The Ultimate Fighter this season on Tuesday, was, Ultimate Fighter. I think most UFC, like real hardcore UFC fans, we don't really watch The Ultimate Fighter that much anymore. It's an old school style reality show. And the coaches, I don't think, make a ton of sense. But that being said, Colby Covington made a debut. So if you did catch it, you may have saw this. And I have never seen Colby Covington look like this before. Granted, it's been a while, I guess December since he had his last fight. And I guess he has nothing scheduled, but looking from the looks of it, it looks like he has not been training whatsoever. He claims that he doesn't drink or do anything like that, so maybe he's just been eating terrible. But I've never seen Colby look this bad and this out of shape ever.
I prefer side. It just depends. If you feel really comfortable in mount and you just feel like unreversible, then you got to go to it. But when you start getting sweaty in there and you go to mount, sometimes it gets slippery and someone can kick through. So I'd rather be in a control position where I'm wearing pressure. I'm working on ground and pound. I'm hitting the body.
Like, he's somebody that prides himself on normally always being in really, really good shape, ready to go at the last minute if he needs to get called in on short notice, because he says, I'm always training. I'm always ready to go. This is not always training. Now, I mentioned this in another video. I know somebody who's trained with Colby at MMA Masters, and he mentioned too that Colby has been dialing it back lately, not pushing himself as much. Again, this is an outside perspective. Take it for what it's worth. But that, in combination with how he looks here, the length of time since his last fight, he even said in his own words when he fought Joaquin Buckley that he just got up off the couch and went in and fought him. And that, I guess, explains in his mind, or to the fans, I guess, why the performance was so bad, was so lackluster. But now it seems like he's not even trying. He's this many months out from December. You would imagine he's probably trying to schedule a fight somewhere in the next 3 to 4 months, but he looks completely out of shape. And given the last couple of performances, how he looked, plus how out of shape he is, I'm saying he's completely done. He's checked out. So if Colby is checked out, he's not training hard. He already looked like he looked last time against the top 5 opponent, top 10 opponent. I think really he's got nowhere to go, and he's going to take one more fight, and then he's going to try to transition into something else. So that begs the question, what is a good option for his final fight? Now, I know he's called out like Nick Diaz and Paddy Pimblett, which I think Paddy Pimblett would actually smoke him. But let's say he actually stayed. He called out Michael Chandler. He's called out a lot of like weird fights for fighters in the lightweight division. Okay, maybe Michael Chandler will move up and fight him. He wants to fight in the welterweight division. I guess they could do that for him. But let me go through the actual welterweight division. And somehow Colby is still in the top 10. But what would be a reasonable fight here? Joaquin Buckley now is up at 7. That's the guy who just beat him. So, of course, Michael Morales, I think the rumors are that he's fighting Leon Edwards. Kamaru Usman is fighting Joaquin. Look who doesn't have a fight. Now, I know they're saying Ian Garry is going to fight Sean Brady. I say, and I know Colby doesn't want to do this, you're only 3 apart in the rankings. I think Ian will still take this fight because he is still a big name and he's still relevant in the sport. I say take it on the chin. Take that last fight. Let's go against Ian Machado Garry. Even though you're probably going to get smoked, you can have a huge buildup. You'll get a ton of fanfare. The pressers will be clipped and cut up everywhere. You can go off on them. And then even if you lose, with all that fanfare, you could do a retirement in the cage and then walk off into the sunset. You can get a big boost for your YouTube channel. Maybe go to WWE, which is, I think, what you want to do. But I think this makes sense. It seems to me that Colby is on his way out. I think one more fight max. I think once he's out of the top 10, he's not going to want to stick around. He's going to try and turn this into a career as an actor or something else. Now, the reason why I feel like this would be such a great option is let's look at what Colby's other options are right now in terms of his YouTube channel. I know this is something he's trying to work on. It is to become an influencer. Now, to his credit, I remember before he had like 5,000 subs. He does his 15,000 subs. Like, it's kind of growing, but just look at the quality of content. Like, there's a million jump cuts. He's constantly cutting because I imagine he's maybe tripping over his words as he's doing these videos. But like, I don't know. This content it's so bad. Check this out.
I think you need the yolk. I got some water, of course, always got water readily available. Got to stay hydrated out there, guys. Got some orange juice, good for the vitamin C. I got some pancakes because, of course, we're going to go work out in a little bit. So, you know, I got to have some carbohydrates, you know. And, you know, I grew up my whole life eating pancakes for breakfast. So,
by the way, the last video was this is the last video. It was 3 weeks ago. I don't know. I guess he's doing something like a breakfast food vlog. Apparently people liked it. I mean, it did get 14,000 views. Maybe it's doing okay, but to me, this type of content is terrible. And granted, I'm not one in general. I've said this many times before. I try to be very respectful of the fighters, and I have a ton of respect for them. I think Colby, it might be that one exception where just because of by nature of the things that he's done and the way he carries himself, I don't generally err on the side of having a ton of respect for it. I'm a little bit more willing to talk negatively in this way, which I don't want to do because he is trying to do something. He's trying to get out there as his career is coming to an end. But yeah, I'll just be honest. That content is just not my thing. I don't know what true value he's really providing. I think he's just trying to find some way to leverage his fame and his notoriety in the UFC into something going forward, which I think is cool. But it seems to me that the only real avenue, like he's not going to be a commentator because I think he has too much difficulty speaking. I don't think he's going to be an analyst either. I think the only option is go that WWE route, use this bad guy character that he's created, this like fake guy, this fake persona, and just roll it into that if he can do it. He's already got the wrestling background. I think he's a fan of WWE. And I think that's the direction to go in. So have one more big fight. Who are you going to otherwise fight? Like Michael Chandler or some other name, but I think that could be okay, but you could still lose that fight as well. I say take on Ian Garry, where you talked all that smack and you went at his family and did all these things. Let Ian Garry fire back at you. It may not be a favorable matchup, but it's the matchup that everybody wants to see. And it's like you said so many negative things about that guy. I think you should now give him the right to actually face you and fight you. And who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you'll actually win. Maybe this is a more favorable matchup for you than we think. And then maybe even you think. I don't know. That's my 2 cents. But the main point of this video is I think Colby is 100% on his way out of the UFC, not even trying, not even really barely training anymore. It appears, unless he's got some weird injury or something, but that's my 2 cents. What do you guys think? Do you also agree that Colby, based on his appearance on The Ultimate Fighter, looks to be on his way out? Do you also want to see this fight and this fight only? Or are you interested in a different matchup? To me, I think it makes sense. I think Ian Garry, even though he would be stepping down in the ranks, I think he would still take this fight given the history and the beef between those two. So that's the fight to make, in my opinion. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thank you guys so much for joining. We'll see you in the next video. Take it easy.